what does this volunteer program mean to me? It means we're doing something good. It means we are bringing individuals together who share a common passion, excitement, and interest for a collective purpose of helping the Acorn grow. It is truly becoming a prominent platform for the performance arts within the Harbor Country and Chicagoland areas. Since I started working here again after graduation a couple of years ago, thank you so much for coming. Hi, guys. I feel like I should start this whole thing over again. Okay. So after I started working back here again a couple years ago now, after I graduated, I saw a lot of need here for more structure and consistency operationally and just as far as running shows and trying to really congeal what we were striving for here, which is truly a professional theater. Once I felt that I'd kind of gotten my feet wet with front of house and operations, I set my sight on the volunteer program. And when I jumped in, I had no idea what to expect. I just had a vision of bringing people together who love the arts and more importantly love the Acorn as I do. And seeing you all here today makes me feel like I'm succeeding in making that vision happen, which is really exciting. So in conclusion, I want to give a big thank you to all of you here in this room and those who aren't able to be here for making my job of bringing passionate people together so easily. You are our backbone. Without your help, the Acorn may just be an empty building. I mean, truly, it really probably would be. So we're going to start off today with a few members of our volunteer committee saying a few words about just different opportunities and their experiences and kind of what they've done around here at the theater. We're going to move on to some role playing, which will go through common circumstances we've had with patrons to kind of give you some initial verbal tools for working with patrons. And then I'm going to go over signing up, some protocols, some guidelines, generally talk about what, where like the fire extinguishers are and exits, just very briefly. And then I want to pass around a contact sheet, so basically your first name, last name, phone number, email in case you can't come, and if you feel comfortable basically trading with everyone. And then we're going to go into our spring cleaning. Okay, so I would first like to invite, oh yeah, oh of course. Oh right, yes, yeah, let's do a quick, yeah, thank you Vicki. I'm Margaret, I work here, and I love this place. Vicki, do you want to start?
I'm Vicki King, and I've been volunteering here for about a year and a half or more, and I love this place as well. It's very energizing, exciting. I live over in Duneland Beach, if anybody else lives in that area.
Hello, I'm Terry Usher. I've only been doing this about a month, 2 months, and I live in Stevensville.
Hi, I'm Mina Goldner. I haven't actually come yet to do a actual volunteer job, but I'm signed up. And I live in Stevensville also, and we live actually close to each other.
I'm Sandra Thompson. I think I know a lot of you here. I'm the executive director. I've been here since 2013 and witnessed, been part of the theater going from for-profit, in quotes, right, to nonprofit. And we wouldn't be here if we weren't nonprofit. We depend on the community to keep us going.
I'm Jan Ledyard. I think this is about 3 years for me. I've been kind of on and off volunteering. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm from Benton Harbor.
I'm Jan Tomasek. I started in 2012, and I'm still here, and I love it.
Sandra Sanders. I live in Michigan City, and I've been a big patron for years, so I'm just starting to volunteer.
I'm Lori Kohler. I've been volunteering about 4 years. I'm not feeling very well today, so I'm just going to go from there.
Hi, I'm Debbie Gunderson. I've been here less than a year, and Lori and I both live in Three Oaks.
Hey, we're sisters.
Dale Nelson from Sawyer. I came to a few shows and they asked for volunteers, so here I am.
So I'm Janice Bardesk. I live here in Three Oaks. I love the town. I love the Acorn. Me and my family have come to many shows here, and I just started volunteering a little bit ago. I've done a few shows, not many, but hopefully more in the future.
Hi, I'm Cindy Haley. I'm from Stevensville. Been doing this about a year. I know a few people, but I'm more the emergency contact, you know, because I work a lot, so I do what I can.
I'm Steve Wadley from Benton Harbor. I've been here about 2 years and just love coming here.
I'm Tom Rabb. I've been here about 3 months, I guess, and I live in LaPorte.
I don't remember any of your names. Sorry. So Karen Diana. My husband Ken.
Hi.
We live in Three Oaks and we're seasonal volunteers, right?
Yes, our second season here.
We're going to do a show after the cleanup.
Hi, I'm Mike Murray. I've been volunteering a little over a year. Enjoy the theater, enjoy the people, enjoy the music. What's not to like?
I am Ron Seashant from Bridgman, and I'm new to this. I've only done one show and going to do a second one tonight.
I'm Sherry, and I've been volunteering maybe a couple years. I really like the flexibility of being able to just attend when it fits for me, and that gives me the opportunity to see shows that I never would have even thought of, so that's really fun.
Okay, so like I said earlier, I want to invite some of our volunteer committee members up to say just a few things about their experience here, and starting with Miss Vicki. Okay.
Hello again. My chore is to talk to you all about ushering experiences. And for some of you who are new, this will be very informative, but for those of you who have been at this for a while, you could probably teach me. So as I said to Steve, chime in if I miss something, right? I mean, because we're all part of the same team. But what I like about ushering and what I think and what they would say is that is kind of expected of us is when there are so many different things you could do that could match your talents or things that you like. So very first, when you walk in the door, there's the intake process. So if you're a little bit savvy with your cell phone and you can be really friendly with people who walk in the door and take anything that comes your way, and it all does, you check people in or you send them over to purchase a ticket. Then then another operational activity is just being right there front and center as people walk in to greet them and tell them, enjoy the show and just, find a seat and move all the way down as it starts filling in. So you're just, you're ushering, you're kind of directing people. And perhaps, you might be in charge of flicking the lights before it's showtime, or flicking the lights when it's in between intermissions and those kinds of things. And then lots of times there's opportunity for ushers, for those of us who are working the show, to stand in this back area and to keep the traffic flowing and to help people figure out where should they go. And the very first thing people always ask is, where's the restroom, right? They don't, or no, I lied. The bar, right? That's the very first thing they ask is, where's the bar, right? And always, above all, obviously, we don't sit there and talk to ourselves. We make sure that we support the customer who walks in the door, and that we ensure that, at least from the start and maybe all the way to the finish, that the customer has a really good experience with the Acorn. Because what happens is, depending on the reaction that they get from us or the experience they have with us, that will set the tone for their whole evening, regardless of the entertainment, because at the end of the day, it's the people interaction. So what have I missed? I've got to miss. Some of you have had a lot of more experience and have, anybody?
Yeah, thank you. Let's round of applause. Yes, it's a little scary to be up here. I'll admit it. Well, now, in lieu of Diane Burgess not being here, I'm inviting Sandra, Executive Director, to talk about the special events and our upcoming benefit.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have a variety of special events. Most of them are for fundraising, but sometimes it's friend raising. So we always have our big benefit in the fall. That'll be something we're looking for a lot of help. So, it includes all the transitions. It includes setup with silent auction and the food. And this year's theme is denim, diamonds, and dancing. Yeah, so you can wear like jeans and bling. I'm excited about that. Oh, November 2nd. Will you be posting dates, or they might be on the sheet?
Let's see, I'll take it back for a second. I have not posted any dates on this, but it is on November 2nd, and we're looking for about 10 to 12 people, and I thought it would be really nice to start with this group. It really is probably our biggest event of the year.
Yeah, last year, we raised almost 30,000 last year. No, more than that, almost 35, yeah. It was really fun. But we also have other fundraisers, some of you have been part of them, where there's a featured artist, somebody kind of a big name, and we'll do a dinner before and a meet and greet. And the next one coming up is August 22nd with Al Stewart, Year of the Cat. Evan, we could do the whole mini mashup. But yeah, he's super famous, and he'll be here. We'll do a nice catered dinner. He'll be hanging around and enjoying some time with us. And there's an additional upgrade in the ticket price, and that's for the Aiken fundraising. Any other special events that you can think of? Well, we have, singer-songwriter competition. That's really, really fun. We got 8 finalists out of a pool of submissions, and it's like American Idol, like that idea. And then a playwriting competition. They started that this last year, 10-minute plays, like mini plays, and submissions come in. We whittle it down to 6. And then they get to perform. Actually, we used last year community theaters, and each community theater took on one of the plays. So those kind of things are really, really, we'd love to involve more people. It takes a lot more than just running a show, right? Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you. Yep, yes, let's clap. Okay, so now I'd like to invite Steve up here, there you are, to talk about just projects you do around the theater.
Hi there, I'm Steve. So with this being an older building, there's always little projects that need to be done all the time. Last year, there was a patron that came in and noticed how warm it got during the summer. If most of you have been here during the summer, it gets pretty warm, and the air conditioners really can't keep up. And so he ended up donating some big-ass fans. And so they're not a cheap fan. They'll probably last forever, but I ended up coming in and helping out that day. We had a local contractor come in, and so we got those installed. Tom and I worked on the closet in back, putting up some board on the wall and some coat racks so that we can hang up our coats during the winter and right now. Currently, I'm working on the green room. Right now, it hasn't been operational for about a year because there's been some water leakage and whatnot. So I've been doing some painting and putting the floor in, so we can have a place for the artist to relax if they're doing an intermission or before the show, if there's multiple acts. So I'll probably be looking for some volunteers to give me a hand doing some different things, because we're going to put up some cabinets. We had the same guy that helped put up the fans donated some cabinets. I ended up putting up some in the kitchen. We're going to put up some in the green rooms. So there's a lot of little things that need to be done from time to time. If you guys notice things that need to be done, little projects, you can bring it to my attention. But as far as the theater experience, I've been coming here for about 2 years, and every show I come to, I may not know the artist, but it's always a great show. And sometimes the best shows are the ones that aren't the big sellers. It's the ones that are more intimate. And the amount of talent that comes through this building is just incredible. In all my experience, I've only had 2 shows that I wasn't overly impressed with, and it wasn't because of the talent. It was because they wanted to take ownership of the sound in the building, and they don't know the building like Evan does. And so they were not very enjoyable shows, and but you want to make sure that, again, with the customer experience, you are the face of the Acorn to the person you're in contact with. If you're face-to-face, you are the Acorn. So you always want to make sure you're as professional as possible and being as friendly and trying to interact with them as best as possible. So, yep. What we'll probably end up doing is creating like a list of people that are interested in doing things like that. And then either I'll send out an email or I'll get in touch with Margaret to send out an email as far as a date of when we're going to work on things. So that was a good question. Yep. Okay. Okay, thanks for coming.
That was awesome. Thank you, Steve. I would like to invite Jan up here now. She has had just a huge variety of involvement here. I mean, listening to her, it's super impressive. So, thank you.
I have to say first, I walked in with my husband and brother-in-law. We sat in the back row for the show, and those things up there had just been installed. And he says, "Man, you have some badass fans up there." I said, "John?" He said, "No, that's the name of them." And I said, "Oh, well, he's from Lexington, Kentucky, and guess where they're made? Lexington, Kentucky." So that's why he noticed. That was the first thing he noticed about the theater, and I thought, oh, okay. But anyway, he's my brother-in-law, and I love him. I've been here since 2012. I'm kind of a behind-the-scenes type of person. I worked on the curtains in the front. We worked on the curtains here on the stage. I tried open mic one night and did open mic for a while. I did an entry in the playwriting contest, and I made the 12 finals, but I didn't make the 6 cutoff, and I didn't get to go on stage, but it was great. Anyway, right now, excuse me. I'm in charge of the Shady Ladies Gardening Syndicate, and we are out taking care of the front area here. And with wonderful help from Lori and Deb, we're going to make the place outside shine just like it shines inside. So, and the project I'm working on now is, I said, sure, I can do that. Well, anyway, once again, Lori and Deb have volunteered. Oh, yeah. I said, yeah, I can do that. Well, they wanted something to hold the reserve seat sign, so we decided to make a back seat coverlet. So I brought in a couple of prototypes. We talked about it, and then they said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Okay. Well, now I am totally involved, and Lori and Deb are going to help me, but if any of you can sew, well, actually you don't have to sew. If you can cut with a pair of scissors and measure, I would love to have you help, because that's the biggest part of the job. And here is the final.
Oh, no, I thought I would just, you talk and I'll be your bandwagon.
Jan, when are you gonna do that? When's gonna be the big day for Margaret? Okay.
Yeah, I think we can discuss that later.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to need lots of help.
Because I can cut.
These go over the backs, right? They're beautiful. And then we'll have a little reserve seat name that'll slide in.
Now, this looks really simple to make, but folks, there's a lot of stuff to do. And then they'll put the reserve seat sign on it, and then people will want.
Not only are these much more classy, they can handle the big ass fans, because we normally tape them, and the big ass fans, when we so the reserve seat signs flip over, and then we can't find them, and then there's real problems. So this is a beautiful solution.
I think this just I have been to so many shows here. The one that I have been to the most is the Eagles cover band Heartache Tonight, and they're coming back on June 29th. It will be the 5th time my husband and I have seen them. In fact, my husband and I love this band so much, he has booked them for the south side of Chicago next Friday night at a restaurant for a fundraiser for his charity, Sortoma Center. So we've just had a wonderful time volunteering here, and I hope all of you will join us because it's a wonderful crew. Okay, thank you.
And we do sometimes help with hospitality needs for the artists. And if Lori is feeling well, and Deb, no, she. Okay.
Okay, so I'm Lori, and sometimes there's some hospitality needs, like when we have the Al Stewart benefit that's coming up. So they'll ask you to make cupcakes or cookies or something so that we can have those as dessert. I got started here because I love Celtic Thunder, and individual guys have come, and I started cooking food for them just as a fan, and then I was making quiche, and then they had the singer-songwriter competition, and it was like, we need to feed these people. Can you make some quiche? Sure, I can do that. And then after that, it was Second City, can you help me with this? And I said, what do you want? Quiche? Sure, I can bring more quiche. This was fun. Gluten-free, non-dairy, no tree nuts. I'm a vegetarian, but I will eat fish. What was the other thing? And it was like, oh my God, what the heck are we going to feed these people? So sometimes that comes into play. And I do a lot of other things, like Jan says we're going to help her with sewing. Debbie and I did the Christmas tree last year up on stage because we love decorating Christmas trees. Gardening. So there's a lot of things here besides volunteering as, hey, welcome to the show, have a good time. I don't know, that's about all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I have one final individual, Tom. I feel like I still can't pronounce your last name for some reason. Rab, thank you.
I'm Tom, and I'm just going to say a few words about the new volunteer experience. I've been here about 3 or 4 months, I guess. I first came to the Acorn a few years ago and saw the Bodines, and I just fell in love with the intimacy of the theater and the ambiance and kind of the industrial feel of it. So a few months ago, I sold a small business I owned, and so I had some extra time on my hand and was looking for a worthy cause where I could volunteer. So I came back here and met the staff, Sandra and Margaret, and they're just wonderful people to work with. They're very dedicated to making this place succeed. Excuse me. So I started volunteering for shows, and I sign up according to when I have time available, so I don't really look at the show. So I work popular shows and shows that aren't popular, which I believe helps them out. I just like working with the people. You get to see the show sometimes, which is a bonus. I didn't know about that when I was volunteering. Typical duties include ushering people, scanning tickets, just being a good ambassador for the Acorn, talking to the people here. I don't know. It's been a good experience for me, so thanks. Glad to be part of the team.
The folder is important. So, wow, thank you all. I mean, this is why I really wanted to bring all of us together today, is to share all these wonderful experiences and wonderful thoughts. So thank you all. Oh, of course, of course. Yeah, this is a great question, thank you. We have on the email list currently about 52. As far as people who volunteer regularly, I would say 15 to 20. So, and of course, there are volunteers who, as you've seen, maybe do some other things like grant writing with Sandra and the board. The snowbirds, yeah, yeah. So the ushering, I would say, for ushering, we have about a solid 15 to 20 volunteers. Does anybody have any questions before I get started on kind of the sign-up procedures, guidelines? Any questions? Okay, so what I'm actually, one more quick thing, now that we've kind of all gotten to know each other, what I was thinking after our volunteer committee members said a few words about their experiences, what they do, if you have any interest in anything you've heard about, go find that person, share your contact information, get to know each other a little bit. Of course, I always appreciate being communicated with about everything, but if you just are immediately thinking, I want to do building projects, go talk to Steve. I want to be part of the Shady Character Syndicate, go talk to Jan, and or hospitality, Lori and Deb. So those are going to be kind of the key people in those subgroups. Okay, so let's talk about, oh wait, we were going into role-playing next. I apologize. So if we turn to the first page after the opening page, and I'll kind of I'll quickly summarize through these, and we'll pick out a couple of the scenarios. We probably won't do all of them, though, just because I want to make sure we do talk about overview of procedures and policies. What is our intention when we work with the patron? We want to build and maintain the relationships with the patrons, and even if they are wrong or you feel like they're wrong, their emotions are not wrong, except when it comes to harassment of any kind. And we kind of have a 3-step communication, but we'll address that later, sorry. There's a 3-step communication toolkit that I try to briefly go over in the pre-show meeting. And the first part is to acknowledge their feelings. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I would feel the same way. Even if you don't feel it, but just remind yourself their emotions aren't wrong, and we're treating the symptoms of fear. Or I hear you and I get why you're frustrated. Hopefully this will kind of engage them with some dialogue. Part 2 of this is asking for their name. Very important. What's your name? Can I get your name? I'm Margaret. What's your name? Very easy, straightforward. And then initiating an action of some kind. Action makes people feel like the problem is being solved. So whether if it's a simple problem, you feel comfortable taking care of it, you can take care of it yourself, or if you're really uncomfortable, front of house, that's what we're here for. Always take anything that happens to us. If you're not comfortable with it, bring it to us. If you are comfortable and you've solved the situation, still come to your front of house and let us know the interaction or what happened. So I would like to invite a couple people to come try out situation A. Does anybody? I'll be patron, and how about Vicki? Would you like to be us? Okay. I can't find seats anywhere. I promised my 2 friends and partner that we could sit together. There's nothing available, and it's awful, and you need to find a solution right now.
Oh my goodness.
This has happened.
I hear you. I understand, and I would feel frustrated too. So what's your name? I'm Vicki.
I'm Sandra.
Okay. Well, thanks. It says here that you're Mark. Well, okay.
I'm Mark.
Well, thanks, Sandra. Let me do this. Wait right here, and I'll go get Sandra, and we're going to find a solution for you.
Perfect. End of scene. Thank you.
You get Sandra. I know.
Yeah. You go get your front of house. And sort of the second part of this is you can start walking them to the lobby. It's amazing. When you start walking, they will follow you. I've done this trying to get people out the door when it's 11:30 at night. I'm like, oh, so glad you came. Here we go. Let's, here you go.
No, and I misspoke, so to be very clear, you don't get Sandra, because she's doing different things, and sometimes she's even the producer. You get whoever, if it's... Well, I can consolidate or something. Well, you can. And if you like it, what would we do? Yeah, if they could consolidate something.
Oh, yeah.
What would you do to solve
We do encourage you guys to say, hey, wait here by the door, let me go take a look. Let me go, look around. And if there really aren't 3 seats together, sometimes you can maybe take a couple chairs, put them over, actually make it happen. But what happens when you can't? Then you say, you guys, you shouldn't have shown up at 8 o'clock. You got 3 people. It's a sold-out show. What the heck?
Here, your turn. That situation has only happened once or twice. We've always been able to find a couple chairs. There was one time recently, oh my goodness, I think it was the Smithereens, or just a really huge show. It was 8:30, show's already going on. Giant group of 13 or 16 people came in. We need seats all together. Their emotions are not wrong. So basically the solution was I just filed them into those seats over there. I grabbed there were some extra green chairs in the back, pulled them up. It was definitely a fire hazard. So that was a problem, but we've always been able to find a couple chairs here or there to make it work. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But they're okay. But if you can't figure it out, when they say front of house, that means whoever is out front, like managing whole shows. So it might be Margaret, it might be Doreen, it might be Ann. But it's never going to be Sam. So before we do ourselves, we have to get approval, or do we?
No, yeah, yeah, you can make it work, but just let the front of house know. That's all. Yeah, if you feel comfortable, go for it. Yeah. Oh, yep, Cindy.
I found if they're very upset, sometimes when I do say I'll go get head of house to handle this, that puts it back on them. Oh, I'm really like,
That's true, yeah.
It just settles on like, oh, we're gonna get
Exactly.
topped up.
Yeah. I'm getting the top.
And then by the time you guys get there, it's like, oh, yeah,
That's true. Exactly. I've had it happen a couple times. I'm going to go through 2 more situations. One situation that we're really minimizing at this point, because we're just getting a lot better, is a reserved seat snafu. When you want to do Jan's jumping up at that opportunity. So in the past, not so much anymore. Every once in a while, we may have overlooked maybe 1 or 2 seats. So here's what we do.
What do you mean you don't have my reserve seats? I paid $25 a seat. And with these beautiful hey, they're nicely made. I looked everywhere, and even the person that showed me where the seats are, she can't find. What do you think? I put out $50 for these 2 seats.
Oh my gosh, you know what? I hear you. I can see how frustrated you are. My name's Margaret. Can I grab your name?
I'm Jan.
Hi, Jan. It's so nice to meet you. Why don't you come with me out to the lobby? I'm going to grab our front of house, and we're going to find you a couple seats.
Well, I hope so. I know that those $25 per seat, they're donations, and that's pretty good. I mean, that's wonderful. But I just think it would be fair if I found my reserve seat. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for your donation. We really appreciate it. I know we're kind of going over just the dialogue part, but that's sort of the purpose, is kind of figuring out how to take the patron down from 10 to maybe a 4. And then we can find the solution from there. Of course.
So Jan, you said something really important. That would be great to say, Thank you. You know what? Your support of the theater is so important to us. Thank you so much. And then they're already going, oh, yeah, that's part of, I mean, usually they're doing the reserve seat donation. It is 2 reasons. 1, it's a great thing to do. You don't have to rush here. But 2, it is a donation to the theater. It's a seriously, we can't believe it. Last year, you're not going to believe this, $28,000 raised in reserve seat donations. That's a significant source of donations. And they're now going to be, we're going to go to 50,000. Oh my God, I want to sit in that chair. But reserve seat, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. So, yeah. And then I think front of house, maybe it was Ann, maybe it was Margaret, said, you know what, we're going to make sure another show, we're going to take care of you, and that's something front of house would do.
She walked up to someone who'd gotten reserve seats maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And said, we're really having a tough time. Would you guys mind? We're really having a tough time finding reserved seats for these people. Would you mind if we put you someplace else and let them take it? And they were absolutely more than willing to help out because they'd been here so many times and they understood what had happened. So Ann's the greatest smoother over. Yeah. She's really great.
Yeah. She's got great customer skills.
Okay, and then one more situation we can go through is if a patron gets really, really drunk. And a couple times they've either crashed a show and they've tried to kind of push their way in, or they're just being really loud and gregarious. Lori or Deb, are you guys up for it? You really want it to be the inebriated patron, but you don't have to.
I'm feeling it. I am feeling it. Hey.
Hi.
What's going on here tonight?
Oh, no. Well, we've got a show going on. How are you?
Fine. What kind of show is it?
It's a rock show. We've just got some fun music going on.
You got a bar?
We do.
Can I get a drink?
The bar is really inside of the theater for paying patrons.
Well, what if I don't want to stay for the show? I just want a drink.
There are really a lot of great options around this area. There's Nelson's Saloon right across the street. There's Journeyman right next door. Yeah, best burger in town, exactly. So, and we really appreciate you stopping in, and if you want to grab a program of our upcoming events to see if there's anything you would like, and make sure to come back next time without being drunk. And then you walk with them to the door. Yes, redirecting. Redirecting questions just to get kind of their attention away from their goal. You're trying to just refocus their intentions, basically. So I want to talk about one other thing, just a broader situation. Sometimes patrons are they can make you uncomfortable with sexual harassment or just getting too physical or saying inappropriate things. Basically in the situation, if they're saying inappropriate things or doing inappropriate things, we can't necessarily say, you're being creepy, you need to stop. They are still a patron. It's putting us in an unfortunate position, but we still have to treat them like a patron. So saying something, maybe turning into a little bit of a joke, or just stepping back a little bit, making it clear there's the physical boundary, or saying, you know what, I'm going to go get my front of house. It's happened a few times. So one situation I dealt with was a patron after a show, inebriated, told me that he could see me in a dress with peep-toe pumps. All right, very specific. A little weird. So my reply, I turned it into a little bit of a joke to kind of just de-escalate the situation. Yeah, diffuse the situation, make it clear this is inappropriate. And I just said, well, that's not appropriate footwear for this job. So, and I also had a garbage can, so I just wheeled it away and kept picking up trash. So, but if it is getting really bad, you can always just say, please respect my boundaries. I'm not comfortable with you touching me, and I'm not comfortable with this conversation. if it gets to a really awful point. Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Rasa?
Use of phones.
Use of phone.
When people are in the audience and the show is on and they pull out their phones, is there any restriction on that?
They can take pictures.
Like pictures or videos?
They can take pictures or videos, just no flash. And we usually do talk with the artist or the producer beforehand to make sure that it's okay doing photography. Most of them are fine with it. But we do have a couple instances where they say no cameras, no photography, nothing. So, but that's a great question. Yeah, I know.
What if the audience member sitting next to someone using your phone complains to you? If they're having a conversation. If they're either having a conversation or they've got their screen on and it's dark and they're texting away and the person next to it doesn't like it. Like, I'm thinking about Bob Dylan, concert where he got really upset and he stopped the concert because of the use of phones in the audience.
Well, that's a really good question. And so this situation has come up. And usually the reason why I'll have a volunteer inside of the theater is to keep an eye out for those things. If the patron is getting fussy or upset about it, we can always go up and ask what the problem is. And then this is our house, and if other patrons are getting distracted or uncomfortable or it's affecting the artist, we can always ask the patron to turn off their phone, or if they have like a blinky headband, we're glad you're having a good time, and, just please be mindful of other patrons. Please turn off your phone or turn off the flash or whatever it is, dim it down. But that's a great question. We always have the ability to ask people to be respectful of others.
I think you do have that more and more. To me, it's incredibly annoying when they're holding their phone up here, and so it's right in your line of sight. I see. And the video, you have that more and more.
Okay.
So I think it's good if we can all be aware of it. And or whether, I don't know if you ever have part of the sort of introduction to the show, just saying, please be respectful when you're using your phone. I don't know, just throw something out before the show.
That's a really good
suggestion, actually. Yeah. The movie theaters, they go, no. Just brings the awareness
If you have an emergency or something. Otherwise, please respect the patrons of this show as well as the artists.
Right. Okay, what about standing up? Like, somebody asked me, where do I go if I want to dance? And I go, over by the bar. But, like, sometimes people want to stand up in their seats and move around, and people behind them, they don't want to stand. So what do you, has there ever been an issue with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I've been told that, like, not here, but other places, they go, sit down there. Yeah. I want to stand and dance.
Sometimes with situations, there's not much we can do. We can always ask them to be respectful of patrons, but it's similar to when people are talking over by the bar. We can ask them, and if it gets really bad, I
think if they're standing in their seat and it's bothering somebody, we can say, hey, if you want to dance.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. We can just ask them to go.
I've been to several places where people go out of their seat area.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
Just recently at an open mic, he was a performer, so he finished and he went over here to the bar to his buddies and he started talking. So Anne had gone over to him. She'd already asked, hey, be respectful of the other artists and the patrons right here. Yeah, didn't pay any attention. So then I went over and I said, so, looks like you're having a great time. I think, if you could go back to your seat, and just, whatever, I forget, whatever I said, it was okay. And then he went back to his seat, then he got up, went over that way and started talking. And I just got actually a little firmer and I said, great, love it that you're having a good time. You're going to need to take it outside. I actually got to that point because it's hard to talk to patrons when it's so noisy and they're just kind of, especially if they've had something to drink. So, and again, sort of walking them. But, it is. We have lost patrons who come here a lot, but that kind of stuff is happening. They can't hear that, that's something we don't want. It's tough. It's really tough. And sometimes you can't do it on your own, and then you go to the big dog, and then to the really big dog.
Okay, these are all really great questions. And again, if you think of something later today, please send me an email and I'll answer your questions as best I can. Or like that excellent suggestion, Rasa, please email that to me so we can pass along. That was brilliant. Okay, I do, because I know some people have to get going a little bit into the 11 o'clock hour. So I want to briefly go through some guidelines. Let's see, where would I like to start? I want to first talk about pre-show considerations. I won't go through all the bullet points. So this is the first page of volunteer guidelines for new volunteers. So obviously we want you to have a very enjoyable evening with us. It's a great night. You get to see a show. You get your one free drink. And it's a really fun night. The reason why we ask you to show up about 20 or 15 minutes beforehand is to give us a front of house and who's ever doing box office just a chance to get organized, a chance to talk with the producer, the artist. So the closer you can arrive to that arrival time is very helpful in itself for us. It gives us a minute to check the reserved seats, as I said. When you arrive, as some of you already know, you can stow all your belongings in that volunteer closet. It's got hooks for coats or purses. It'll keep your stuff safe. And then we do a little pre-show gathering beforehand where I go over safety guidelines, what the ticket color is, that 3-step communication process, just a variety of things that I go through. Emergency exits, which we use that one by the bar. We use the front door, and there's a door kind of through that red curtain. We don't use the one by the sound booth, though, because it's a safety hazard. People could trip, hurt themselves. We will also go over job assignments in that little pre-show meeting, and this is important. If you feel uncomfortable with the task you've been assigned, for whatever reason, that is perfectly fine. Please tell me if I don't ask you in the meeting, if it slips from my memory to ask if you're comfortable. Please say something. The last thing we want is an uncomfortable volunteer. The patrons will sense that, and they might get restless or uncomfortable themselves. Okay, and as we've kind of said a variety of times, making eye contact, we are all ambassadors of the Acorn Theater, providing a good patron experience. Okay, if there is a fire emergency, we do have to call 911. Makes sense. There's that exit, like I said, back by the bar, the front door, and the side door. There, let's see, patrons who are in wheelchairs or handicapped accessible, there's we keep them right next to that curtain. They don't go down the ramp, they don't go up the stairs. They're the first ones to get out. I think I saw, Sherry, do you have a question?
Just anybody would call 911, any of us volunteers, right? Any of us could.
Any of us could. Yeah, just as long as we all stay with a good communication. Yeah, anybody can call 911. You see something, call 911, then tell front of house. Don't tell front of house and then call 911 because things could get worse. Good question. Thank you, Sherry.
Actually, that happened at Fernwood, at the train area, where they have the little train at Fernwood for the kids. The fire started, and the volunteer saw it, and she tried to put it out. She didn't call anybody. And then she said, oh, maybe I can't do this. And then could somebody help me? And then she said, oh, maybe I better call for help. By that time, it was too late, and they said if she had called immediately, it would have saved 5 to 7 minutes, and they could have saved it. So she tried to handle it herself. Don't ever do that. Just do 911. It's safe all the way around.
Thank you, Jan. That's excellent. I did create a little map. It's in the back of this pamphlet of where all the fire extinguishers are. And I have to call them and get them all updated, but there they are, and I'm thinking we should probably get a couple more. We are trying to schedule a CPR class. I sent out a sign-up form, so if you're interested, check your emails to find that sign-up form. Okay, I'll briefly go through for new volunteers. which is on the second page of volunteer sign-up protocol and procedures. And I do encourage you all at home to go through this in more detail. So arrival time for new volunteers is about 40 minutes before, and you will be assigned to a seasoned, what we call a seasoned volunteer, to show you where the light switches are, the emergency exits, talk about how operations work, and then you will be shadowing the other volunteers, getting some hands-on experience, but we want you to feel very, very comfortable and almost as if it's too easy for your first ushering. And if you have any questions, the seasoned volunteer can help. Usually front of house, it's a little bit hectic of a job, so we can't always give you the focus that you need, which is why we assign you to a seasoned volunteer. Oops. Okay. And then for volunteers who I reach out to for orienting new volunteers, then I'll ask you to also arrive at that same time. And for your first time volunteering, the show type is we suggest a lighter show, maybe of not a ton of patrons, just to get a feel for what we do in a slower manner. So when you do a sold-out show, it's not quite as overwhelming. And then I do briefly talk about staffing shows. Our ideal number for a small show is about 2 to 3 volunteers. That's more than enough. And then beyond that, we're looking for 4 or 5 unless it's a benefit, and then we want 10 to 12. Late arrivals, so now I am, as well as the other front of house people, posting up just general information about the show and assignments on the bulletin board inside of the volunteer closet. So if you're late, please check that. And if I did assign you for scanning and you're late, I'll probably just have someone else do it, and then I'll ask you to do reserved seating or ushering. I also, for the pre-show meeting, will have just some bullet points on there in case you're a little bit late, which is fine, I understand. If you have an idea in the moment at a show, please write it down, because like I said earlier, front of house doesn't necessarily have the opportunity to give you the time that you deserve to share your ideas and thoughts. So please write it down. Send us an email. We'll talk about it, see if we can implement. About implementation of new ideas, we're really finally starting to get this volunteer program stable. So as we grow, we will have more room and opportunity to include more activities, but right now we're just kind of starting from a little nucleus of how can we really stabilize this to provide more opportunities for creativity for you all to kind of shine in those areas. If someone falls, this is incident reporting. If someone falls or hurts themselves and tells you, please come tell your front of house, your big dog. We'll fill out an incident report, and that'll be that. So please look this over at home. We're kind of running out of time a little bit. It's 11:02. Does anybody have any final thoughts? Oh, yes, excellent.
What happens, like, if somebody has a heart attack or something? Stroke?
Yeah, call 911 immediately, and that's why we're trying to...
Will there always be somebody here with CPR?
That's the goal. I know I want to get CPR trained, mostly because I run the majority of front of houses, so just call 911 immediately. Mm-hmm.
Is this your cell phone number?
Yes, that is my cell phone number, yes. So if it's, urgent, please text me. Don't abuse my cell phone number. But yes, I'm available. Oh, yeah. Call and hang up repeatedly. Yeah.